Hey, what's up, y'all? So once again, coming back at you with the facts. We're actually sort of the facts. I don't know. I'm going to give you some information in this video, and you guys decide whether or not the information I'm going to give you is the facts or it's false or it's just rumor, whatever. Right? So everyone knows about the video that I made, the curious case of a grown little boy, where we basically go through the details of the grown little boy's indictment. And lots of people came out and they actually commented on that video. And as I'm going through the comments, and it's really hard to keep up with everything that's going on when people comment on your videos. But I guess for me, I typically don't get a lot of comments. So every once in a while I'll get a video that'll just have tons of comments, and that video was one of them. And I noticed that there is sort of a feud. I could be wrong. You guys tell me whether or not the grown little boy is feuding with Infamous Sylvia. Now, first, let me just come off and say that I don't know Infamous Sylvia. I just took a look at her page, and it looks like she has some really great videos over there. You guys should go and check her out. But it looks like there's some type of feud between the grown little boy and Infamous Sylvia. Now, I typically don't get into feuds and beefs. Well, let me take that back. I typically don't try to hype those things up, and that's not what I'm doing here. I think that some of the things that I actually said on the comments of my video uh, is a good conversation from a legal perspective. So, because of that, I kind of want to go through some of the comments that were left and talk about the legal aspects of this conversation and give my opinion and hear your opinion as a viewer, right? So let's just go ahead and dive in, right? Uh, sh- to my surprise, a grown little boy came to my channel and he actually responded to the video, right? And like I said, I don't bash people on the internet. I don't come after people on the internet. And, hopefully no one will come after me. I'm just blogging like everyone else, and I'm just taking information that's floating on the internet and I'm just putting it into a video, and that's it. That's pretty much all I do, right? Um, but it looks like he comes to the channel, he makes comments, it seems like other people came to the channel and they basically make comment on the video. And there's this dialogue that develops between Infamous Sylvia and Grown Little Boy. Now, if you know what's going on between the Grown Little Boy and Infamous Sylvia, definitely shed light on it, right? Definitely leave your comments below and break it down for me, because I really didn't know this was going on. And it seems like there's a lot of history behind all this stuff. Now, like I said, I don't get into feuds, but when I do happen, I sometimes I pay attention, but honestly, there's so many internet beefs that happen. There's no way in the world you can keep track of all of it, right? So well, let's just go ahead and jump in to the what appears to be a beef between the grown little boy and Infamous Sylvia. And again, I don't know if there's actually a beef, but after reading some of this, it appears there is. You guys tell me, right? So we start with the grown little boy. And we're just going to kind of jump in on a conversation, so it's going to be out of context a little bit. And grown little boy speaks as Sylvia, and he goes, Sylvia, what more can happen to me besides going to jail? I mean, really, what else would you prefer? I have to leave my wife and kids, and it's not enough for you? You worship God, and I never asked for forgiveness for my peers. I'm good. You can never make me out to be a bad person over a year in jail and taking a shot at enriching my family. Yep, I got caught. I got to pay for that, and most of all, I hope it makes you feel better about yourself, if that's what you're looking for, right? So I'm just going to come out and I'm just going to comment on that, and it's not really an attack on the grown little boy, but anyone that is thinking uh, you know that fraud is okay, and thinking just because you have a family you have some sort of right to, commit fraud or just commit any crime. Let's just leave it at that. Commit any crime. And again, I'm not attacking the grown little boy. He obviously has his perspective. My perspective is different. But, from my perspective, um, you committed a crime, right? And I can't accept you saying you committed this crime because you're trying to help your family, because now you're not going to be in your children's life for a year and a half, or a year and some change, whatever it is, right? So obviously, to me, this is just kind of flawed thinking. But again, I'm not attacking anyone who is a career criminal. I'm not attacking anyone that likes to commit crimes. But like he said, at least he acknowledges that, this is the result. He got caught and now he's going to do the time. So at least he acknowledges the fact that, I think he's acknowledging the fact that, crime is wrong and you generally shouldn't commit crime. But on the same token, to just be balanced, of course, if your family is starving and they have absolutely nothing to eat, and you going out into the street and you beg for change and no one will give you change, and you have to go and steal food to basically survive, then I think there is something from a biblical perspective that's sort of, oh shit. Stop this. So yeah, I was just interrupted. So essentially, what I'm trying to say is that if you are committing crimes out of necessity, then I think you get a pass. As a matter of fact, there is actually a law, right? There's a law that basically allows a person to choose between two lesser evils, right? So I think it's the doctrine of two lesser evils, in the sense that your family is starving and they have absolutely nothing to eat, and you go out and you steal food so that they can survive. I'm not saying that you're going to win in court with that, but I'm just letting you know that there is actually a law that allows an individual to choose between two lesser evils. Um, so that's that. But I also think from a biblical perspective that you would get a pass, in the sense that you're trying to feed your family and you're stealing so that your family can survive. But is that what's happening here? Is Larry stealing because his family or is he committing crimes because his family is on the brink of starvation? Right? Or they're running around famished, skin and bones, and walking around with bloated stomachs and, just look like skeletons or whatever. Is that the situation, right? I seriously doubt it, right? But again, I'm not attacking a grown little boy. I'm not attacking anybody who basically chooses to, live their life the way they want to live. But as the saying goes, live by the sword, die by the sword. You do the crime, you do the time, right? You commit the crime, you do the time. So, and it looks like he's sort of saying that, but I'm not sure. You guys tell me. But anyway, let's just move on. So basically, Sylvia comes back and she says to the grown little boy, dude, do you even get it? You've been bashing RK for years. You never had any mercy on him, but you want people to go light on you. The same measure you pour out is what you'll receive. You said you are leaving your family, and what more do I want? I want you to repent and ask for forgiveness on how you said horrible things about R. Kelly without listening to his side. You want people to believe your side and not pass judgment on you, but you never afford Robert the same consideration. Now I know why you wanted him to take the plea deal. Do you ever think to yourself that this man is willing to go all the way without taking a plea deal, because he knows for a fact he didn't do what they're alleging? I know I would fight until the end, and I knew I didn't do what they're claiming I did. Right? No, I don't wish bad things on you, but I can't say the same for you, because you have wished So much negative on me, and even called me horrible things and lied on me. But I pray for you because of your family. Your kids don't deserve to be away from their father. Hopefully, you'll think your family. Hopefully, you will think of your family while you're in there instead of getting rich, right? So there's really nothing there to talk about in the perspective of law. So we're just going to move on. But this just shows you that there's some type of beef between Sylvia and the Grown Little Boy. If you know what's, and again, if you know what's going on between them two, break it down. Let me hear the full story. I want to hear it. But I think this next couple of paragraphs that we get into, there's some legal stuff that we need to talk about, right? So the Grown Little Boy comes back and he shoots at Infamous Sylvia. He goes, Sylvia, I probably feel sorry for you the most. I understand that you want certain things to happen and to be true, and I've asked you multiple times to leave this stuff alone and walk away. Do you understand that these people are not playing games? That this is a serious case and a high profile individual. My case is my case, and it's black and white. A lot of y'all sent letters to my judge, and y'all don't even know me in real life. So, that's interesting. So I like to get more details on this. Do people actually send letters to the Grown Little Boy's judge? And if so, what did those letters say? If anyone have any links to these letters, maybe a website we can go so we can view the letters or the contents of the letter, that would be some pretty interesting stuff because I kind of want to know what was said, and so we can have a discussion about that as it pertains to law. So I know that anytime someone is convicted, there is a victim impact session where victims get the opportunity to come in and basically speak, right? And there's also the pre-sentencing report, which I talk about, and I'll put the link above. I talk about a pre-sentencing report and how the victims get a chance to add information into that pre-sentencing report, if I can remember correctly, or the victims get a chance to speak at the sentencing, right? And then the judge is going to take everything in consideration, and then he's going to essentially set the the prison term or the prison sentence based on all the information. Now, what I'm not sure of if whether or not people who have nothing to do with the case can come in and send information. I kind of believe they can because there was actually a YouTube story that I followed, and in that YouTube story, there was this judge, basically an African American female, who was actually going to go to jail. And what happened was that she had her friends, family, and relatives and people in the community send letters to the judge, but unfortunately, they sent it to the judge's home, and that really just pissed him off more than anything. I think if you send letters to a judge, you have to send it to his office, right? And actually, as I think about it more and more, I think you can send letters to a judge even though you're not directly impacted in the case. And I'm going to base this off of not fact. I like to deal in facts, but for right now, I don't want to spend a lot of time researching this because we're just reading stuff on the fly. Uh, I remember watching an episode of Better Call Saul, and he was running a scam where he's trying to get one of his associates out of prison or prevent them from going to prison. And he went to a community, and he basically had a lot of bogus letters written, and he sent all those letters to the judge, to kind of show the judge that, hey, you're going to really impact our community if you lock this guy up. So I'm going to guess. It's not fact. If you know, let me know. But I'm going to guess you can send a letter to the judge, even though you don't have anything to do with the case. If it's going to impact the community, or if it's going to, impact society in some way, I think you can send a letter to the judge. Um, if you know for sure, comments below. If you're really interested in me digging into this deeper, comments below, and I'll, probably make another video on it, right? But anyway, just moving on. The kind of help y'all are offering R. Kelly has been nothing short of harm. Nobody over there wants to assume responsibility for sequestered jury, but you have admitted to providing the information for people to intimidate people's lives and businesses that resulted in bond denials and sequestered juries. You told them people on your channel that I did those things to people when you clearly heard the prosecutor say that it wasn't me and the other person hired a hacker. Let me stop right here and just talk about the R. Kelly sequestered jury. I don't know what Sylvia did or Infamous Sylvia did, and I don't know what any of her associates did or didn't do. I'm not saying she did anything, right? But I personally believe that the internet fever of this R. Kelly trial, and I think in general a lot of people didn't think before they actually did a lot of things, and I think the Grown Little Boy is kind of right because I think because of a lot of things, threats that were made, and I think that a lot of the harassment was done towards the victims and the threats that were done towards the victims. I think the prosecutors were actually able to use that to encourage the sequestered juries, right? I wasn't actually in the courtroom when they had the hearing. I think the hearing was supposed to be live and it turned out it wasn't. But I think they were reasonably able to go in and say, hey, we need to have an anonymous and sequestered jury because we don't want the jury's members to be impacted. We don't want them to feel threatened. We want them to feel safe, so on and so forth. And if you think about it, more than likely that if any of the jury information got out, you look at how people were treating the witnesses and or the alleged victims, right? We don't know if at this point R. Kelly is innocent until proven guilty. But if you look at how people were treating the alleged victims, then or the accusers, then you would reasonably expect that someone would try to contact the jury members if they had the jury members' information. So I think the Grown Little Boy is kind of right on this, but let's just move on. I'm not asking you to stop anything. The damage is done. I'm just tired of fighting about it. It's easy to look in the mirror and say your hands is clean. I did the same thing in my case. But when reality sets in, I would be very worried. People think I should hate you because of my address being out, my daughter and kids being harassed, people at my house, everything. Because they would have been able to do it without you. Hold on a second. Everything because they would have been able to do it without you. And you can't deny it because I have records and emails of you passing my information abroad. If I know that, and clearly you heard my sentencing, and clearly you know the connection, what pops in your head that says, "Hey, let's harass this guy"? Not very smart. See, this is a game to everyone, and it is that isn't facing. This is a game to everyone that isn't facing jail time and people that sentence, etc. And those people know the capabilities. But hey, do what you please. But I can tell you, you're going to wish you listened to me. I fought hard for the families of the victims. You fought hard for R. Kelly. The difference is that I didn't break the law. You did. You have no background checks on people with malicious intent and solicit the information across state lines for people to attack with financial backing. Do you realize how serious this is? When I called y'all a terrorist organization, do you think I was playing? But hey, have a great day. So that's a mouthful right there. So here's the thing. I have absolutely no idea what Infamous Sylvia didn't do or did do. I have no idea, right? But he's obviously alleging here in that paragraph that Infamous Sylvia, um, posted some of his information online and has done background checks and put his address out there. So first, let me say this. So when I blog, and you guys already know, I mean, there's no name, there's no identity. attached to any of this is just a avatar, the non-lawyer. And my channel is really about the material. My channel isn't about me. I'm not trying to become famous. I'm just trying to hustle a little bit, yeah, and basically make some of this YouTube cash that everybody's going after, right? So, but the important thing is that it's not about me, it's about the content. If you don't like my content, you just don't like my content. I try to leave very little for you to not like about me, right? And then if comments get too negative on my channel, I just simply delete them, right? And to be honest with you, if you come and you put comments in the channel where there's cursing and things like that, many people have that set to auto delete. So those when you come, typically malicious people, when they come in to the channel and they say crazy stuff to get attention, typically they're going to curse or use profanity. So that's why I turned on the profanity blocker, and that way I would eliminate a lot of malicious people, right? Because typically malicious people have nothing intelligent to say. They're just going to come in and say something that with profanity or whatever. So that's at any rate. My channel is really about the content. It's not about me. But most importantly, you don't have my information. There's nothing on my channel that you can use to get my information. And you know, and I think that's something that everyone should consider when they create a channel. And one of the things that you can do, right? One of the things that you can do is that you can legally, because if you're on YouTube, you're actually a celebrity. Think about it. If you're on YouTube, you are a celebrity because you're constantly going to be in social media. You're constantly going to be entertaining people. And because of all this, you're probably going to get people who don't like you. And there's a lot of hateful people out there. And there's a lot of people out there who just like doing evil stuff, right? And and if you don't run across somebody like that, then what can happen is that you can say or do something that's going to piss somebody off, right? So what's the solution to this? Well, there is a solution. If you want to be on YouTube, you want to be on Twitter, you want to be in social media, you want to be out there, but you don't want to do what I did with not showing your face. You want to actually show your face. Then you should consider going down to the courthouse and creating an alias. Now, I know in California, they actually allow individuals to create an alias, and you have to check with your state to see what the laws are. But if you create an alias, you can do one or two things. Either you can create a YouTube identity with that alias, or what you can do is that you can wrap your personal life into that alias. And when you wrap your personal life, or you basically shield yourself, use the alias to shield your personal life. So what you can do is that you can get all your bills in the alias name. You can, when you buy your house, you can buy your house in the alias name, so on and so forth. And this is actually a thing. People are actually out there doing it, and it's been around for ages. This is basically what celebrities do. And again, if you're a celebrity, then if you're a YouTuber, I'm sorry, if you are a YouTuber, you're a blogger, then you're showing your face, then you're a celebrity. And if you're a celebrity, you need to do what celebrities do, and you need to incorporate an alias into your game plan. Like I said, one thing you can do is that you can shield, or you can wrap the alias around your personal life, so that if anyone goes and tries to search for your address, the alias would pop up, right? Um, or probably the better option is to create the alias for YouTube, right? And I would actually go as far as creating a legal alias for YouTube, and I would give that alias a different address, probably a PO box somewhere, and basically that's what I would roll with, right? But it gets kind of complicated when you're inviting friends and family onto the show, and then people can just look up your friends and family. So you have to decide how you want to do that. So now that we got that out of the way, let's just talk about the legality of all this. In my personal opinion, if so it's this is kind of tricky. It's sticky. I don't really know the law on this. This is a really good subject matter. If you want me to create a separate video on this and only this, comments below, and basically I will. But if you know how this works, then you can leave your comments below and educate us. But this is my thinking. My thinking is that it's tricky because the grown little boy is a celebrity. Any Infamous Sylvia is a celebrity. Anyone who has a YouTube channel and they make their identity, their personal identity about the YouTube channel is a celebrity. So it's going to be hard to say that, in my personal opinion, it's going to be hard to prove that someone gave your personal information, put your personal information out there, because your name is out there, and once your name is out there, anyone can just do a background search for like $5 or $10 and get your information anyway, right? So it becomes tricky. Now if he has some sort of evidence where she actually uh, you know sent that information around, then that's a different story. But the reality of it is that if you put your name out there, then anybody can just go to, whatever background services out there. There's tons of them, and they can pay $5 and $10 and get everything they need on you, right? And then they can, do whatever they want to do with that. Now, I think it can be illegal if the information that they're posting is not public information. Most times, when you do deep background checks, you probably need to get the person's signature, depending on what information databases you're actually going to use. But again, this is a video. I mean, this is a topic that can be its own video. Let me know if you're interested in it. But I'm just going to sum all this up, and I'm just going to say that if the information that they're pulling is public information, then Infamous Sylvia, that person would not have committed a crime. I'm not alleging that Infamous Sylvia actually pulled his personal information. I don't know what she did or didn't do. But I'm just saying, generally, if a person pulls information on you, but it's public information, then I'm going to say that it's not going to be illegal. Maybe you could probably sue for emotional distress if they're just doxing it or putting that information out there, even though it's public. It could probably still be considered doxing. And by the way, I have a video where I talk about doxing and I go through what doxing is and what it isn't. And I'll try to post a link of that above, right? On the other hand, if the information that you're pulling requires a signature, but you're not getting the signature, you're not getting Grown Little Boy's permission to pull that information, and then you pull it anyway, and then you post it, well, yeah, then, that's definitely going to be illegal, and you're probably going to be liable for damages. Now, I can personally tell you all the information that I pull is just public information on courts, websites, and just information that I pull off the internet, perfectly legal. And I'm not doing it to harass anyone. And that's the other thing about all this, is that if someone is pulling the grown little boy's information specifically to harass and berate him, then whether that information is public or not, then that information is going to be considered doxing when you post it out there. Now, again, like, I posted some of his information out there, but here's the thing: the grown little boy is a public person. He's a public person because he shows his face, he uses his name, and basically that makes him a public person when he makes his videos, right? And the information that I'm pulling is newsworthy information. I'm pulling the information for the purposes of having legal discussions, so on and so forth, right? I'm not posting the information with the intent to harass him, with the intent to berate him, right? So if you pull the information and you're posting it out there for no other purpose but to harass and berate, then you're basically doxing. And doxing may not be illegal, but they could probably sue you for harassment and emotional distress or whatever. But it's even then it's still going to be a tough sell because doxing is a new concept and you have to convince probably a jury. I would choose a jury if somebody tried to sue me for that, and you would have to convince a jury of of that that you were doxing. He would have to. So anyway, let's just go on. Then Infamous Sylvia comes back and she shoots at, throws shot at the grown little boy. She says, "How the heck can you say that your hands were clean in your case when you admitted to taking part in a money scheme? I see you're trying to deflect and add some false information about me. You don't have any proof that I gave information to anyone that intimidated uh, any alleged victim or witness. My hands are completely clean. Do you know that Secretary of State information on a business is public record?" And she's right. You can go to any state website. Prop in Illinois, you can go to the Department of Motor Vehicles, and you can do title searches for any corporation, so on and so forth. And to report a business or personal that represents a business is a right that I have as a consumer. Huh, that's interesting. So it sounds to me, and I'm not saying that she did this, uh, but it sounds to me. Let me read the rest of this. For example, if a manager's curse me out, and he represents a particular business, even though I don't make a purchase, I have a right to report my experience with that manager. I can search the business information and find out all the agents and make a report. It's just like matching. It's just like marching in front of a business after being treated unfairly. So please stop trying to use scare tactics against me. Huh. You have been lying on me for a while now. Even after your apology, you are still throwing stones. Like I said, I much rather for your children not suffer from the absence of their dad, but you can keep pushing the negativity, but claiming that you are not. You make false claims that I put out information about alleged victims. Show me where I did a show me where I did show me where did I publicly put out information on anyone. I wait, right? So, she makes an interesting point here. So it sounds to me, and I'm not sure if this is actually the case. So it sounds to me like what could have happened is that maybe the grown little boy had some type of corporation. She went to his state's website, pulled up the information about the corporation, and it sounds like the grown little boy registered the corporation with his personal address. And again, you guys have to be careful with the information that you put out there. Um, and if that's the case, then I think she's right. She does have a right to do that, and it's 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 just one big gray area. But for the most part, I think there's no harm, there's no illegality in posting information about a corporation. And if you just so happen to put your address out there on the corporation, then that's it's not the person's fault, right? Um, yeah. So you guys, let me know what you think about that. But I am pretty sure she's right about that. You can pull corporate information from. So if I go to, let me switch gears here. So if I go to Secretary of State in Illinois. So when I go to the website and click on maybe services, click on business, services, companies, limited line. So let's just pick, I think it's called a company search here. Let's just click on business corporations. Damn. I won't be able to find this because I'm actually, corp search. Here it is right here. All right. So corporate LLC. So I don't know. Let's type Popeye's chicken. Popeyes. Right? So let's see if anything comes up. So you see there's several different corporations that pops up for Popeye's chicken. We'll take the first one, chicken and biscuits, and bam, principal office, right? You get all the information about the corporation. Oh wow. So wow. So basically you get all the information about the corporation. There's a principal office, and it gives the office of the headquarters, I believe that is, and that's in California. I'm sorry, that's Inglewood, Georgia. And then there is an agent information, right? Because Popeyes is probably going to be a foreign corporation, and they're registering in Illinois so that they can do business in Illinois. And so that's why it probably says National Registered Agent. So they have an agent in Illinois that handles all the business for Popeyes, and that's going to be his address, 200 West Adams Street. This is a business office, right? Um, and then it lists the address of the managers, uh, which are actually in Georgia, in Ellenwood. I'm sorry, Ellenwood, Georgia, right? And this is actually inactive, but that's what you're pretty much looking at when you do a title search. And actually, this is revoked. So let's see here. So anyway, this is not. It is pretty much the same thing, right? Officers, address information, and yeah, there's a lot of personal information that could be exposed if you don't fill out the corporate forms, right? And I would imagine what you would want to put down is that you would want to put down the address of a post office box, if possible. If you can't do that, then you want to have an office. If you don't have an office, then it becomes tricky, because if you put your own personal address down on that corporate incorporation form, then you're going to end up in the situation which I think the Grown Little Boy ended up with, where someone has a right to look up that information. And you can see this is public information. I didn't fill out any special forms. I didn't have to tell them why I needed the information. It's just public information. So if the grown, and I don't know if this is the case, but if the Grown Little Boy created a corporation and he put his own personal address on the incorporation forms, then he just revealed his own information to the public, right? But again, I'm not saying that's the case. You guys, let me know what you think. Questions or comments below. Then this goes on. It says, the Grown Little Boy, did you forget you have a business address on you live? Huh. Did you forget you have my address? I'm sorry. This is Infamous Sylvia, and she's shooting at the Grown Little Boy. Did you forget you have my address on your live, and you have your subscribers contact me? I'm sorry, and you have your subscribers contact my job and tell lies on me. Now, this could be illegal, right? It depends. It depends on whether or not Sylvia made her address public or not. We just saw a situation where the Grown Little Boy made his information, could have possibly made his home address public information uh, by accident. It depends on how he actually got the information. Um, and then she's also saying that he had her subscribers contact her job. That's definitely going to be illegal and basically tell lies. And then it goes on, how do you get my address? And how did you get my address when that was not public knowledge? How did you search information about my husband and child? Did you use that program that Angelo spoke about? How was my credit information pulled and given to Dubowski? Wow, that's definitely going to be illegal. If that's true, I don't know this is actually true. If you guys can confirm this information, whether or not these things were actually done, comments below. I definitely want to know. But yeah, pulling someone's credit is definitely going to be a crime. Um, I wonder what program they're talking about. If you know what program that you can use to get people's personal information, let me know. I'm assuming that they're talking about, just a regular background search, but she could be talking about maybe a computer program that can take your YouTube account and extract your personal information from it. I don't know. I'd like to know more about this. If you have any information, definitely leave your questions and comments below. Then she goes on, I'm wondering if you have been behind all that back in 2019. Remember, you was trying to help my daughter with her credit. Had I known you was charged with this sort of money scheme, I would also like to know you. I would also like to know, did you record our phone calls from Nevada without my knowledge? After my credit information was spoken on Dubowski's live, I had to put an alert. Wow, this is really bad. Yeah, this is criminal actually. Like if this is true, she could actually press criminal charges. Larry, I hope you did. I hope you, Larry, I hope you did do that. I'm thinking she's saying, I hope you didn't do that. You have spoken about helping my daughter's credit. Remember, you was doing credit repair on your channel. Why did you delete those videos? Right? Huh? That's interesting. Uh, no, I'm not attacking Grown Little Boy, but damn, can you imagine going to someone who is committed, who's been convicted of fraud, and going to them for credit repair and giving them all your information? And again, I'm not actually trying to attack the Grown Little Boy. I'm just throwing it out there that how crazy would that be to go to someone who is essentially a criminal and have them do credit repair. That's why you guys have to be careful of who you do business with, especially when you do business like that. And again, I'm not attacking the Grown Little Boy. And then he comes back and he goes, I have your recording of pulling Faith Rogers information and countless others, but that's under the water under the bridge. What I did in my case is none of your business. Actually, it's kind of public. That's not true. Again, once you put yourself out there, you make yourself a public person, then anything that's newsworthy about you, the public has a right to talk about. You don't have a right to privacy at that point. Somewhere, someone wired. I'm sorry. Some wired kind. What the hell is he saying? Some wired kind of way you are trying to justify. Some weird. He put wired. Some weird kind of way you're trying to justify something about my case, which makes me a bad person. When 98% of all black people hustle. Buddy, no disrespect. Absolutely no disrespect. But hustling and committing crimes aren't the same thing. And again, if you commit crimes, if you are into theft, you're into fraud, hey, do what you do. I advise you not to do it, but if that's what you do, I mean, far be it from me to stop you, right? That's your thing, right? But I'm going to tell you that hustling and committing fraud and doing crimes are totally two separate things, right? Um, I understand that you can be a criminal and a hustler at the same time, but hustling is not necessarily criminal, including you. Hardly any of you work 9 to 5 jobs. I actually work at 9 to 5 jobs and pay taxes. I pay taxes and have mortgages. I'm not going to give any more information out. And a career job, but some kind of way it makes you a saint and me a sinner because I got caught. You ever once think about how I got involved in this? and I have 0 points of never having been to prison before. No, because you are too worried about bashing me and shaming me as if you knew R. Kelly or some other kind of connection. Truthfully, you are a fan, and can you imagine if you put the same energy into your own life? You judge me as if it matters. It don't matter. The commentary matters because of the money you will receive, views, right? Yeah, that's true. Uh, when this is over, I won't be on YouTube going back and forth. And then what? Uh, this is what I'm gonna say. Um, you know what? I'll say this. I'll say this. Um, a lot of black people, in my, from my position or my perspective, is that a lot of black people have been oppressed for decades, centuries, right? And because of this oppression, you have African Americans more likely to go to jail, and then you have laws created specifically to entrap or snare African Americans. So I would say the whole marijuana business um, was made illegal for the sole purpose of locking up African Americans. Right? That's a Nixon thing. I think I even have a video on that, right, where I give out some information on it. And I think, yeah, you got a lot of people incarcerated because of that. And once you get incarcerated and you come out, you're left with very few options at that point of what you can do legally to survive, right? So I get it. I get where he's coming from, right? And I grew up on the south side of Chicago. I grew up in a very bad neighborhood, and I knew a lot of people that committed crimes and basically committed crimes, not necessarily to survive, but that was just a way of life. So I get what he's saying. I get it. But I'll say this: you have a choice. You have a choice. You can hustle without committing a crime. You don't have to commit a crime. In this day and time, the money is out there. I'm not saying that I'm making the money, but you look at all these commercials of people doing Amazon drop shipping. You look at all these commercials where people are setting up Shopify. I actually need to set up an internet store one day, but I haven't actually got around to doing it. But the hustle is out there. You can go out and make legitimate money by hustling, right? And not committing crimes. What I have done, I've actually sold the body oils, little small body oils that come into like the 1 ounce containers, um, or the 1 ounce bottles. I've actually gone out on a weekend and I've made 300 to 400 bucks on a Saturday just selling those. What I would do is I would just go to the shop, buy a bunch of fragrances, hop in my car. This is pre-pandemic, and go to all the salons and barber shops and so on and so forth. And I would hustle, right? I'm not committing any crimes. I'm hustling in the street and I'm making money. So you have a choice. You can commit a crime or you can make legitimate money. Now, obviously, you're not gonna. Yeah, I'll just leave it at that. I was gonna say obviously the legitimate hustles aren't going to make you a lot of money, but I can't say that. You got people making 20 and 30 million dollars, by internet hustles, and they're all legit, right? So you have a choice. You have a choice on how you're going to make your money. In this day and time, there's no reason for you to be out there committing crimes, in my personal opinion, right? So I'll just leave it at that. And then the grown little boy comes back again. He goes, I don't know your address. That's a lie. Those are more lies. I don't know where you work. That is what I mean. You was never important enough for me to do that. You don't know R. Kelly. That problem that the problem, you people are crazy. You are trying to deliberately trying to insert yourself into the federal case. One day I will tell my story, but it's far from what y'all think. If y'all only knew, some of y'all going to make it after all the stuff y'all did. Just remember, I was that one that tried to tell you to leave them parents and victims alone, right? Um, so I think this is kind of we've gotten to the point where the good legal conversations kind of end, or at least we've gotten to the point where I'm just kind of done with all this. But so I'm basically just going to wrap the video up. So that's it for this video. Let me know what you think. Questions or comments below. Um, please like, share, and subscribe.